You can get by with a lot of stuff with me if I know you can sing for real. The acronym wwoc. I'll let y'all figure out what that means. Roc Nation has sometimes confused me about how they dealt with artists. It's kind of giving aspirational mystique. I think I like that. Hello. I am Nikole and welcome back to the channel. Hello. I am Nikole and welcome back to the channel. Now today we have another episode of Phase 1, and in this episode we're getting into the 23-year-old R&B singer from Indiana, Maeta. Since the release of her project Habits, it seems like people are waking up to her talent, so let's take a look at Phase 1 for Maeta. My first introduction to Maeta was either when she opened up for her on tour or the feature on that Tone Stiff song, Something in the Water. Not really sure which one came first. Her voice is very smooth and honestly seems effortless for her. And y'all should know by now, I'm a sucker for a great voice. You can get by with a lot of stuff with me if I know you can sing for real. And yes, as someone on Twitter hilariously coined the acronym wwoc, I'll let y'all figure out what that means. She is a part of that community. Just like people were confused about that voice coming out of Christina Aguilera in the 2000s, I think a lot of people were not expecting that voice to come from Maeta. Maeta was born and raised in Indianapolis, Indiana. Her family was full of creatives, her mom being a visual artist. They definitely encouraged her exploration in music, but I don't think they actually thought she would take it up as a career. She gained a following online through delivering covers on SoundCloud and Instagram. Some of her earlier music influences were John Mayer, Beyonce, Kid Cudi, and Alicia Keys. She is a 2000s baby. Her first EP, Do Not Disturb, was released in 2019 and garnered a lot of attention from blogs, detailing her experience moving from Indiana to California to pursue her career. And she followed that project up with another cover series on Instagram and releasing her second EP, Habits, in 2021, the same year she inked her deal with Roc Nation. Habits features songs like Toxic and everybody's favorite, Bitch Don't Be Mad. The following year, she opened up for her on her tour and did a spot date opening up for Jasmine Sullivan. This increase of exposure definitely laid the foundation for her latest project, When I Hear Your Name, released earlier this year, and I was thoroughly impressed. And there are a few things that make Maeta stand out. One most obviously is her ethnicity. Now there was a period of time, and I still feel like sometimes it happens, where people wanted to try to start gatekeeping R&B. Now this is a sentiment that I never truly subscribe to. I feel like if an artist truly values R&B, understands the history, and has a respect for it, then they should be able to participate. Especially when we have tons of executives and people thinking that R&B is dead. I also think that sentiment backfired in a way of kind of pigeonholing people of color to genres like hip hop and R&B, not allowing artists of color to dive more so into pop sounds and be accepted fully when it comes to the charts, the awards, and even some of the festivals. But let me get off my soapbox and back to Maeta. Another thing that I love is that she's taken elements from house and different eras of R&B, fusing them together to make her own sound, which you can really hear clearly on her Habits EP. And her image honestly gives me the unattainable girl next door. It's like the pretty chill girl in the neighborhood that all the weird people got crushes on, but they know you don't play with her. It's kind of giving aspirational mystique. I think I like that. And once again, the voice. Honestly, the main thing I want when it comes to someone who's doing R&B is to be able to sing. Everything else you add to it, that's great. That's how you put your custom stamp on it. But at the bottom line, I want to hear a great voice. And honestly, her voice is reminiscent of Kelly Rowland to me. Not so much in tone, but more so in her clarity and the effortlessness of her delivery. I can probably show y'all better than I can tell y'all. So we have added music video reactions to phase 1. In order to see the full version of this video, you guys can slide over to my Patreon where you can subscribe for $3 and get fully into this music video reaction. Now let's get into questions by Maeta. It was giving a scary movie for a minute. She's really pretty. That helps. Okay, underwear. That was questions by Maeta. Yeah, let's face forward. So when it comes to how she's socializing amongst her peers, I feel like she's definitely running in the right circles of like who are the up and coming artists that are going to have longer careers when it comes to writing and producing and even having their own independent careers. We've already seen the connections with like the Destin Conrads, the Ombre, the Catronadas, as we just heard, and James Fauntleroy. I think she's surrounding herself with good people, great talented people, and she doesn't seem to be kind of like falling in the shadows of anybody. She definitely seems like she's on her own island, still figuring things out, but definitely more so focused on who she is and how she's going to develop. Now, as I mentioned before, she is over there at Roc Nation. Roc Nation has sometimes confused me about how they've dealt with artists, but they do seem to be putting a lot more effort and a lot more push in their newer artists like her, like Ombre and Ebony Smith. So it's going to be interesting to see how they roll out these newer, younger artists that they've just signed on. Yeah, because they've been, I don't want to say they've been heavy on the hip hop side, but it does seem like they've had their few artists that they've mainly focused on. And then there's just like a plethora of artists that are either signed on to the label or management that you hear from every once in a while. Just like Ombre, we've covered before in the Running Back series. She's been releasing pretty much all year and featured on a few major albums. So it's looking good for Maeta. One thing I will say though is that I feel like I do feel like she benefits a lot musically by collaborating with great producers like the Catronadas, the James Fauntleroys, the Dream even. I feel like everybody's kind of giving her, helping to give her her sound in a way, like I said, mixing the little bit of house and a little bit of the different types of R&B. Every project to me seems like it's been like a fusion of things, which is why so when I hear your name, I thought was the debut album, being that it is a 13-track, 40-minute project. I thought we were counting that as a debut album, but she's still calling this an EP. So I am interested to see what her definition and what her difference is with an album. Is the album going to be more conceptual? Is the album going to be more skewed into one production style? Is she going to lock in with one producer to kind of create one vibe? Interested to see what that turns. She is also gearing up for her own tour. She's doing a few of the major cities coming off of the release of this recent project. And like I said, when you kind of like, she's opened up for her, she's opened up for Jasmine, she's been on tour. I think she's done a couple of spot dates with Tone Stith, and she's even done like the Vivo Discover Lounge, the Tidal Lounge type of performances. But all of those sets and all of those stages kind of have a custom set for the main focal point. So her having her own tour and her own spot dates, now releasing like this longer project, having a bigger body of work, I am interested to see how she's going to bring this to the stage visually. Like I said, she may not be a dancer, she may not be giving us a boom cat 5, 6, 7, 8. So I do want to see what are we going to get with visuals, or are we going to get with staging and styling? Are we going full band? Are we going with the tracks? Definitely interested to see how she brings this music and this vibe to life. But yeah, if I had to place her on a wavelength of maybe who she could have a career like, I don't know. Is it giving Justine? Is it giving Kehlani? I don't know. It's still very early to tell for me kind of what her trajectory could be and kind of what lane she's going to fall in. Because honestly, when it comes to like putting a show together, I could see her obviously on the stage with her, on the stage with Victoria, or just on the same like ticket. I could see them on the same wavelength. So definitely going to be interesting to see how Maeta develops. But the music sounds great, so I'm along for the ride. All right, y'all, that has been phase 1 for Maeta. Drop down in the comments below. Let me know if you guys are familiar with Maeta. What are some of you guys' favorite songs from her? And what are you guys hoping to see from her on this tour? Y'all already know what to do here on YouTube. Be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Also, hit that notification bell so you never miss a drop. And be sure to slide over to my Patreon where you guys can get the full version of this video and the full reaction to the questions music video. That's a wrap on this episode, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye.